Hello, everybody. I missed my cue. And I was using that letter again. Well, welcome to the Frontlines in the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminonkeys, and all those that wish to enslave all of humanity for their own selfish reasons. Well, we're on the hot story, the October surprise, the item that will literally start really causing the flood to take out all of the deep state bad actors. So we covered it yesterday. That was the focus. We'll focus on it again today because there was more. I actually considered doing this video last night because about a couple hours after I finished the video yesterday, the audio tapes came out. 2 different audio tapes came out. So we have those to go through. There's also a letter that was written to Joe Biden by Alan Perot. It looks like Parrot when you look at his name, but it's spelled Parrot, or pronounced Perot. Like I guess it's sounds French, but anyway, not sure about that. But the letter is really, really interesting. So we're going to go through the letter, 4 pages, and it really is spelling out that this gentleman, though he looks like a wizard, he's got the white beard and he's wearing a turban, that this is, part of just who he is, and he actually is a falconer, and he was doing it for a long time. He bred falcons, and since falcons have been looked upon by the royalty of the ages as symbols of power, of hunting. They'd hunt with falcons. I'm sure you've seen movies where falcons were highlighted in war campaigns, and they'd go off and do scouting or whatever. So these warbirds are used, today by the elite royalty, as well as leaders of countries, to show status. The price of these birds have gone up to $1 million for one, and he's actually the one that really started the whole ball of wax of it rolling out and becoming a big thing. And he's actually very upset about that because a lot of the falcons are dying. They're not being well cared for, and even though they're spending a lot of money, it may die, and then they want another one to replace it because the money doesn't matter to them, and neither does the bird really. If it dies in doing how they were playing with it or whatever, it ended up perishing. He did make some mention in some of there's a lot of videos, so we're going to go over that as well. So this is a very interesting. You look into his background, and the letter that he wrote to Biden is basically saying he has access to all of these terrorists because of him being a falconer in that region of the world. He is called upon actually to go to all these falcon camps, which are actually terrorist trading camps. So he's pulled into that world, and he meets even with Osama bin Laden. And he has, then when he has knowledge of these terrorists and Al-Qaeda hiding out in Iran, he's informing the U.S. government. He's writing a letter to Biden. So we're going to go through that. It's very interesting. So this guy is credible. This is why this is going to be so devastating. As he's got the evidence, he's got video of him with Osama bin Laden. He's got video with others as well. He's got audio. We have audio clips that released yesterday talking with one of the congressmen back then and Biden's attorney. So Biden was well aware of what information he had available. But it also looks like they were not acting upon it. They were not taking him up on his offer, and they actually worked towards sabotaging him. So, as for credibility, very credible. And Trump retweeted the video yesterday of one of the gentlemen that is involved with this, and he's appearing with one of the relatives, the father of one of the dead SEAL team members. So anyway, we're gonna get into all of that again. So let me first say, am I still broadcasting? Because yesterday was quite a challenge. So as you know, I tried. I only got into it a minute while it kept going down. It kept disconnecting. Apparently, I am on. I've got 5 viewers, and it does appear to be working. So, now it just said error. Not receiving enough video data. Well, we will see how this is going to be coming up. It does look like I'm still going. It's not saying I'm disconnected. I'm going to watch out for that. Some of the video on this is already being taken down. Trump's tweet was taken down, and then he had to retweet it. Also, our favorite poster, the 17 NES poster, is also has mentioned something that points us to this being credible. So this is all tied in as well, because he mentioned the Midnight Rider, and the first post of this came from a Midnight Riders whose Twitter account is now gone. So there are some screenshots of that out there. So maybe we'll stumble upon it as we go. I don't have it lined up, so I did not see the letter. It's my habit from England. Whenever I went to England, I used to stand in the line, and they called it the letter. Okay, so on the housekeeping side of things, so we have also, okay, this program is brought to you by your donations. It's the only way I have of continuing, since the COVID happened, everything else shut down. I'm relying upon you. I'm going to do my part to try and push this as much as possible to get us over the finish line, and to, help us stand up and deal in the assemblies. In California, I'm in the San Diego assembly as well. We're looking for new members to join in with us. We need to get at least 13 members before we can literally start doing business, although we are holding meetings on a weekly basis. The California assembly itself is over 50 members, on the way to 60. The magic number there is 60, as at that point you can hold grand juries. So we're moving to organize. The website is being developed. I've taken on as a webmaster, as selected as that individual to go ahead and do that. So I started working on that. It will list what's in all the counties as well that we're having the people that have come together to assemble. And this is how we stand up. This is how we take back our government. This is the process that's outlined in the Constitution, even though they try to make you believe that the right to assemble means the right to grab a sign and go yell at a building in protesting, right? Peaceful protesting. Now, that's not assembly. Assembly is actually a governing body. The government works for us. It's not the other way around. But they think that we are there for them, right, to drain. And no, we're not putting up with their garbage anymore, and we're standing up. So we're taking on this on. So please, if you're in San Diego, please reach out. Go to lifeforce.global. You will find the links for the apps. Join the local assembly for you, the state assembly, and if there's a county, join the county. If there's a city, join the city. There's a couple of cities already. Lancaster, for example, is one of them. I think there are probably 3 altogether. I know that Kelly is starting to work on Napa County, and anyway, this is unfolding. We've got to make a stand. We are also going to be showing our successes on when we go ahead and create our individual affidavits to go after these people that are holding government seats that have taken an oath of office to protect us, right, and to honor our constitutional rights that are given to us by God. That they have to protect them. If they're not doing that, they're not abiding by their oath, we can then have their bond removed from them. So without the bond, they can't hold office. So these are things that we are in action. There's also, Gavin Newsom is in trial. Also, the people are making an effort to say you can't bring all the legislature and judicial under you and start being a dictator. And that court date came, and there's another court date after that. So things are moving. So get involved. There's even assemblies for other countries. You can start in your country to get things moving. Okay, all right, that being said, again, the link for donations, if you want to give me a donation, link is down below. If you want to give a donation to the Life Force, that link is also down below. So, please do whatever you can. It's all appreciated. Small donations, medium, large, super large, all of it is appreciated. It makes me know that you're appreciating what I'm doing, even on very small donations. So don't worry about that. That just gives me some understanding that we're doing. So we are. So yesterday I did receive a $25 donation. Thank you very much. And I'll also send out an email after I receive donations, just so you know, so you can look for that. It's whatever email came in for the PayPal, which is sometimes not always an email that people use for email. Which is actually a very good policy, actually. But anyway, let's I guess move on a little bit. Okay. We're not going to really get into any of the other things going on with Trump, right? But what I do want to say is this treason conversation, treason narrative that Trump has been pushing out there, right, has all been based upon they spied on my campaign. We hear him say it all the time. They spied on my campaign. So everyone's ears are now tuned into treason occurred. And people will say, yeah, they spied on his campaign, That's all right. Now, I think it's a big deal, but a lot of people out there say, it's just politics. These guys, they all do this kind of stuff to themselves. They blow it off. It's not really to be blown off, but it is one form of treason that's happened. It's identified, and is now everyone is generally agreed to that. At least the supermajority has that's occurred. We know that, but they're not going to want to see Obama strung up because he spied on Trump's campaign, right? That's just not going to do it for most of those people. Yeah, a good 30% of the people are, well, yeah, string him up. He did commit treason, right? The other 60% on board already are going, it's just politics. But it's this treason, it's this story, this October surprise that is now moving out and showing up. More evidence is going to come out every day showing that they actually executed SEAL Team 6. They executed because they knew bin Laden was not killed. And so the reason why Obama swept into office, right, is he got rid of Osama bin Laden, right? So how would that look? Is everybody celebrating? Oh, nope, you actually got a double. And by the way, the money you gave to Iran was hush money. The $152 billion was hush money. They blackmailed you. And of course, on top of that, you needed to keep SEAL Team 6 quiet. And wherever SEAL Team 6 actually went down, regardless of what the movie showed you, that's garbage. The movie is just narrative out there to keep people on track of what happened to SEAL Team 6. Garbage. Throw it away. Nothing like that occurred. That is not the story. And I showed you yesterday that Biden outed them. Right? He basically said it was SEAL Team 6, which put a target on their head. Now, was he doing that on purpose? Or was that just a gaffe, a Biden gaffe? I lean one way more than the other, but, benefit of a very small doubt, let's say it was a gaffe. But there is a real target painted on at that point, and then they died. So you had everyone searching for them, right, in the Asia and the Middle East, because they were now identified as the ones that took out Osama bin Laden, even though he really wasn't there. He wasn't there. Is he still alive? That's a thing I actually haven't come up with yet. That's a good question. Is he still alive? We've heard stories that he's still alive, right? So this is probably one of the reasons why. So this is all this that we're going to go over is going back to 2011, I think, something along those lines. So, all right, let's get started. Let me first line up a couple of things here. Okay. So this is the reporter that was first breaking the story. So we talked about this yesterday. Oh, looks like there's a new drops. Okay. Oh, okay. This is the same one. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm back one in. I wasn't on her main Twitter page. It was in one of the posts. So go back. So this is a video that was put out, and this is also all of this information is really just showing how damning the whole thing is. So let's go up to here. So here's her Twitter. So I suggest you follow her. Is she going up? She's got yeah, her followers are going up. I think she gained 100,000 in a day or something. So she had an interview with on Next News Network, and they had with what's his name, Frenchie. He was also got all this information to Donald Trump Jr. yesterday. Also very good to know. So breaking news from Donald Trump. So what is Donald Trump saying here? Let's.
Serious questions for Joe Biden this evening following the publication of emails allegedly belonging to his son Hunter that contradict.
Okay, so that's about the ties to the corruption. This is the one. This is the new one. That is a new video that we're going to go look at. But before we get into that, we're going to go down a little further. Let's come up. As we're going to go into this letter that was posted. Same thing. So, and also this movie, Feathered Cocaine. So the Feathered Cocaine movie is listed in this letter. That's what I go. Here's the letter right here. So 20 hours ago, she posted it. Breaking: CIA whistleblower Alan Perot's letters to Vice President Joe Biden and Brian Ettinger, asking why intelligence on Obama bin Laden is being ignored while operatives are being killed. So here's the 4 letters. So what I did was I broke that down into a thread reader because it's hard to read these things. So I use this. So here it is. I brought it into here, which then I could then blow them up this way. Okay, so here it is. This is the first page of the letter. We're going to go through it because it is important, because this really will give you the understanding of who he is and what the situation was with the government. Dear Mr. Ettinger, and that's Joe Biden's attorney. Enclosed are 2 copies of the DVD that I have been telling you about since January. I have also included a detailed letter for Vice President. I would be grateful if you can find time to review the enclosed material and deliver them to Vice President Biden. For 6 months, I patiently waited for an opportunity to meet with Vice President Biden after the first of many calls with yourself beginning January 6, 2011. Unfortunately, I understand from your statements my meeting with Vice President was opposed by one NSA official operating inside the White House. Apparently, the NSA official in the White House, about whom you frequently spoke, made the presumptive error presuming that I present a threat rather than an asset. Well, to them, maybe you are a threat. So, sorry if I digress. Continuing, I encourage you to help change his mind because his viewpoint, it was conveyed to me, is 100% inaccurate and counterproductive. In my opinion, these material justifies this special trip by yourself to the Vice President for a briefing and strategic session. It's a complex matter. I will be more than happy to attend, to contribute a roadmap for the positive resolution of the matter and importance to our nation. Sincerely yours, Alan Howard Parrott, or Parrott. So the Union of Conservation of Raptors, so UCR. Okay, so that's the first part of the letter. So we continue on. Dear Vice President Biden, enclosed is a DVD presenting my organization with that lifts the veil on the House arrest of 100 plus of Al-Qaeda's leader inside Iran, which was covertly engineered by the U.S. government, USG. Analysis is provided for Osama bin Laden's, UBL, emigration from Iran to Pakistan, including catalysts and motives that compelled UBL to leave his Islamic Republic of Iran, and which ultimately culminated in UBL's recent demise in Pakistan. The American public, the international community at the time, and members of the executive branch have not been told the truth. This presentation outlines only a portion of the definitive proof of the UCR has obtained over the last 5 years that demonstrates how and why the U.S. government was squarely behind UBL's detention in Iran. So he's outlining this, right, to Biden, saying that UBL was put there, right, by the U.S. government. Okay, U.S. government obstructions and threats against UCR. I attempted to submit field intelligence to several U.S. government agencies about Al-Qaeda's leaders, including UBL living in Iran. Purpose was to claim the reward of justice. So one purpose was to claim the reward of justice, money advertised for the capture of UBL and the other Iraqi leaders detained inside Iran. So I guess he was looking to get the reward, right? Well, so that's a good idea. So he's put together this professional presentation. Hey, look, I've got him. He's here. I've got him on video, everything. Right. During our submissions of actionable field intelligence to the U.S. government on many occasions and many levels to our disbelief, our information was received with conspiracy silence, followed by cunning observations from Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld. So Donald Rumsfeld was putting up obstructions. That's cunning obstructions. Okay, wonder what those were. My attorney also informed me, my intelligence agency officers, that if we continued plans to capture UBL alive for delivery to the U.S. custody, they would leak our activities to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, so that the UCR personnel would be imprisoned and tortured. So the U.S. government said, stop this, or we're going to, get you in trouble with Iran. It seems like counterproductive, right, to helping catch the terrorist, right? All right. Bottom line, UCR personnel were under threat to leave Osama bin Laden alone, apparently as part of a strategy to maintain the status quo, which has actually become covert USG policy, namely the ongoing house arrest of Al-Qaeda's leader inside Iran. So he's saying that if that's the official, what they're saying, that this is what he says, you guys, the U.S. government has a policy of keeping Osama bin Laden and the 100 leaders in Iran under house arrest. That's some kind of Faucian bargain that they made. Okay, let's continue. The next step. More than one USR field operatives has been assassinated, executed in Central Asia, with the most recent team member meeting his fate in Central Siberia on July 26, 2010. My team members have suffered immense hardships, lack of security, and provisions. All right, let's go to the next part of the letter. State and other U.S. government agencies have not acknowledged my request, claims, and prior offers. This long road was finally near its end with my discussion to go public. I have nothing to lose. I do so on the basis of high standards and virtuous principles, and in order to protect the USR human assets who are currently embedded across several ex-Soviet Asian states. So he's got people out there, so he's going to go public so that they can't be just killed in silence. I see few options at this time, but to release our information into the public domain. You will notice that in this enclosed DVD, we have admissions from trusted White House insiders who confirm that an agreement exists to keep BLL and Iran in exchange for a non-aggression pact with Al-Qaeda's top cadre of leaders. This Iraqi peace treaty brought 10 years of immunity from Al-Qaeda attacks inside the continental United States. I encourage you to examine this material at your earliest opportunity because I sense that the public release of this information has been potential to create a firestorm that hasn't been seen since the days of the infamous Pentagon Papers, which I do bear an uncanny resemblance to the gravity of today's essential Al-Qaeda non-aggression pact. This material shall have a polarizing effect which clearly recognizes winners and losers. I encourage you to consider this information request as a tactical diplomatic asset for the U.S. administration, especially for our future relations with Pakistan and Iran. If you care to work together to forge a working relationship and address these issues, I'm confident that a mutually workable solution can be facilitated for the benefit of the United States and our foreign policy assets abroad. Phase control disclosure in mass media. I am accustomed to this strategy of abbreviated phase disclosures after noting recipients' reactions. So I think that's what's going on here. It's just that the reaction has taken a long time to get to this point for him to do this phase of the disclosure. Been a long time, right? This DVD presentation is a tip of the iceberg with much more to follow. Phase 1. In a documentary film, Feathered Cocaine, I detail how the U.S. government knew UBL and 100 Al-Qaeda leaders have been detained inside Iran and that the U.S. government didn't want them. Phase 2. In a mass media demonstrates precisely how two U.S. administrations covertly engineered the house arrests of UBL and 100 senior Al-Qaeda terrorists inside Iran since the days following Tora Bora. So just think about this. So Iran and the U.S. making an agreement to hold these terrorists. So what kind of relationship is there with Iran and the U.S. government? Is it Just like we're ready to go to war with Iran, rattle the sabers. Same with North Korea, right? We're ready to go to war with North Korea. They're both building nuclear bombs. So something, not the way that they're representing to the public, right? It's always about wag the dog, create a story. Anyway, let's continue. We're also working on a sequel to the documentary film Feathered Cocaine. This has not been publicly disclosed about the storyline. Is based on the data revealed in the enclosed DVD. Schedule. Phase 1 public disclosures are complete. In May, Feathered Cocaine was contracted for release in theaters across the United States in 10 major cities on a pay-per-view and DVD sales. Now, I don't know anything about that movie. I never heard about it at all. In fact, I'd never heard anything of this story. So whatever happened, they really clamped down on the information getting out. I would like to begin Phase 2 mass media disclosure August 1st, 6 weeks after sending you this DVD. Remember, this is in 2011. It is my hope that you can review the disclosed DVD in detail so that you can understand my stated goals and appreciate how my goals intersects parallel those United States concurrent to supporting the U.S. administration. So he wants to work with them, right? And even though he says, well, my people are being disclosed and something's happening that's not kosher, right? Kosher might not be the right word to use in this case, but you know what I mean. All right, so the last part of the letter, risks. If the U.S. administration chooses not to forge a working relationship with the UCR, this sends a clear signal that today's administration is knowingly continuing to the legacy of the Bush administration via Al-Qaeda, Iran, and would be detrimental to the U.S. government. Gag order. Offshore interests who are signatories and binding NDAs are in possession of the UCR field agencies regarding Al-Qaeda in Iran. They are not subject to the U.S. gag order. I do not want to foster a scenario whereby history revisionists might spin the facts all to my disadvantage to the detriment of our country. Time is my enemy, in that potential adversaries will require at least 1 month to formulate a strategy to once again derive the American people from the truth about the Al-Qaeda UBL in Iran. As I have zero indicators or assurances that the U.S. government will change today's policies regarding Al-Qaeda in Iran, I am compelled to be proactive instead of reactive and move more quickly now. Benefits. I have the experience in the Middle East, 20 years in ex-Soviet Asian territories. 10 years I lived and worked with several Arab and Central Asian political leaders during that time, which greatly enhances our intelligence gathering capabilities. If the U.S. administration considers UCR field work in the context of forward-thinking conflict resolution, with support of a small NGO. So basically, he's going to be an NGO is what he's looking to be. That obviously has no political agenda. The Obama administration could be the clear beneficiary of our information. I am ready to collaborate with the U.S. government as a team member to bring closure to the poorly conceived policies that have cost our nation and the world broken lives beyond count, with priceless assets and opportunities thrown to the dry winds of the Middle East. This is a complex matter. The DVD reveals why our materials should justly be visited by yourself with the President for a briefing and strategy session. I will be more than happy to attend to contribute to a roadmap for a positive resolution of these matters' importance to our nation. Please let me know how I can be of service. Sincerely yours, Alan Howard Perot/Parrott. For the Union of Conservative Raptors. And again, this was a letter to Joe Biden. So, so this is very detailed. Let me change this around a little bit. I'll clear some of my screens, speed up my computer a little bit. So these details are very provoking, right? Because this guy is not coming out of left field like a crazy guy or anything along those lines, right? This is really telling the story that makes it all seem very plausible. He's looking to be cooperative. He's contacting the administration. He's blaming the Bush administration for Osama bin Laden hiding there. That's their policy, but Obama kept it going, right? And he says, well, this doesn't make any sense. Why are you keeping this policy going? It's ill-conceived. He's wanting to work with them. He wants to be an NGO. He's got great intel. He'd like to use all of his assets and help the U.S. But that didn't happen, right? So he was looked at as a problem, right? So that being the case, so why was he such a problem to them? Why did it make it, to where, he's having some of his members die, the people associates out there. Now, why is that happening? Was the whistle being blown? Were these things becoming known to have been occurring? So all good questions. So let's now look at this what he talked about is this movie Feathered Cocaine. So we're gonna look into this a little bit. Let me pull this up. Okay, this is IMDb, basically just talking about the movie, April 23rd of 2010. It's an hour and 20 minutes long. So, it did make it out there. So here's a Huffington Post article about it. This is from February 2014, Feather Cocaine, the story of money, terrorism, and falconry. Smugglers have kidnapped, politically imprisoned me 2 times, once in Mongolia, once in Abu Dhabi, in the United Arab Emirates. I had 9 bones broken and I lost an inch in height, which is not entirely bad because I can just tie my turban an inch higher. So that's his quote from the movie. I have that actually lined up. I think it's still lined up. Alan Howard Perot views himself as the first person to ever allegedly catch, breed, and sell wild gyrfalcons, or Icelandic falcons, considered to be a flawless and genetically pure falcon, a breed that can cost up to $1 million per bird. For 3 decades, Perot sold gyrfalcons to royal Arabs for 5 or 6 times or 7 figures per bird. Ounce for ounce, gyrfalcons are the more valuable than heroin, and with penalties for smuggling falcons sometimes non-existent. The black market for falcons has led to corruption against military leaders, political murder, and international terrorism. In the Middle East, falcons are the ultimate status symbol birds, referred to as the priceless finch tens, and hundreds of thousands of dollars sight unseen. When you pay for a falcon in the Middle East, you're paying for the labor of the man who brings the bird to you, but the falcon itself is too perfect, too valuable to pay money for. So you don't pay for the bird, you pay the man. Where you see Lamborghinis lining the stone driveways of super rich in Beverly Hills and the Middle East, you'll see flawless gyrfalcons, according to the 2010 documentary film Feathered Cocaine. So let's just give you an idea that this movie did make the rounds. That's even 4 years after it came out, and it was still percolating. The information's still percolating out there, right? So this is the movie right here. It's 58 minutes long, and then we're just gonna watch this little section right here.
And sold for a 6-figure price or 7-figure price. What goes through the head of a sensitive creature? I mean, if it was just a rock or a dinosaur egg or something like that, no problem. But these are sentient beings, and they deserve protection. I used to be in this business many, many years ago. It seems like a whole other lifetime. But I sold gerfalcons to Arabs. They paid $26,000, $30,000, $35,000 for a gerfalcon. And it was dead a month later when they came back and asked for another one. And today, they pay over $1 million for a jur. And they know they're only going to get 1 month of pleasure hunting with the fastest bird in the world. They'll see some great flights, and then that Arctic bird will die in a desert environment, a place that's so alien and hostile to their immune system and to their metabolism that they just can't handle it, and they die. I seeded the market. I was the first person to ever legally catch and sell wild gerfalcons for the past few centuries. I was the first. And I felt like I opened Pandora's box. And now I have to close it.
So you say that he's really taken back by this, right? You know, he's done something, you know, where now he deeply regrets it, right? You can see he wants to now close Pandora's box because he feels that these birds are sentient. Now, sentient basically means that they're self-aware, right? A being that's self-aware, has intelligence. They're self-aware, and they act that. You could say humans are self-aware. You might want to put that on a few other where we go by brain size of the. So, oh, they have a big enough brain that's bigger than a human brain, so they might be sentient. Which brain size really has nothing to do with it. So, are they sentient or not? I don't know, but he believes so, and now he really feels that he's doing harm, right? And so he's, you know, on a mission, a life mission, to correct his mistakes, right? This is an important point. That's why I wanted to bring up that little section. So, let's go on. We have this is a trailer for this feathered cocaine. So we're going to take a look at that. I got to reset it, I guess. So yeah, he's he's a serious guy, right? You don't train falcons and breed them and everything without being a serious guy, right? This is also a labor of love, and you know he ended up living in a world outside of America, in which is completely alien, right? And so he's as a matter of his life brought him into contact with all of these wealthy people through the UAE and other Saudis, and as well as other leaders of all of these other countries that are into the falconry. Right? And the falconry is, as we'll see coming up in the trailer, if it comes up, that is, it's very much delayed. These were actually cover for actually terrorist training camps. So, it wasn't like planned for him to be there, but that's what it was. All right, so let's go ahead and push play here. Still a bit delayed. Yeah, so these camps were, I said, a perfect cover for them to create terrorist training camps. So he's able to move in and out of the different camps. So why wouldn't that be a fantastic asset, right? Someone who wants to, stop the terrorism, right? Wants to be useful, wants to be helpful. He's in a position that like no other one can be, right? But he comes into this and he's presenting himself in a way that it gets him involved. I wish this was play. Maybe it's not. It may be is that it's overloaded. It could be that everyone's trying to watch this video. That may be what we're experiencing here. Is that everyone? Now this is only a 2-minute and a 2.5 minute trailer going into this movie. So we'll see. It's going to reload. And we have a few more things. I don't want to get off the page. We just switch over here. We'll just talk about this for a little bit while it's loading. Well, hopefully it loads. So you have someone willing to give an amazing network of information gatherers, right? That literally could, send the Falcon from one location to another with a message on it to have their own communications network. Literally could create enough intel to take down the whole terrorist organization, and they didn't want to proceed. And he's dealing with the attorney of Joe Biden. So we know that they were aware of what was going on. So there's obviously was something else going. The idea in his mind that they would want this is legitimate, not knowing that what they really wanted was the terrorist camps. They wanted them to be successful, but there is another agenda that is all being exposed, and that's why this information is coming up now. Well, it looks like it's going to play now. Okay, here we go.
King Khalid wanted to buy my bird. The bird actually was killed, and another Arab gentleman was asking me if he could buy the bird to stuff it and put it in a bell jar on his desk. I refused, and he kept calling me, and finally I told him I would give him my dead falcon, which he could stuff and put on his desk on one condition. I said, okay, I want you to kill your son, give him to me, I'll stuff him. And he stopped calling me.
Oh, that's why he has the turban.
Yes, he is addicted to falcons, and I don't think that's entirely bad. Have somebody to protect them.
This should not be taken away from us. Politicians, diplomats, and government heads of state are involved in smuggling these bonds. The best of them sell for more than $1 million.
It's not like he's coming and he's making allegations. There is heavy documentation, yet nobody was willing to act upon it. Why not? It's money.
The entire 9/11 operation was not funded out of bin Laden's personal pocket. It was not funded by Taliban. It was funded out of the Gulf.
These are Al-Qaeda's boardroom.
The falconry camps are just a metaphor of the way business is done in the Middle East.
I was supplying and training the Falcons, without which these camps could not exist. I'm interested in falcons, but I've been sucked into a whirlpool of intrigue involving terrorism.
There he is.
Against my will.
And who's that behind him?
But
Bin
what do
Laden.
you do when you walk in a room and you see a falcon and a terrorist? You can report it. But then what do you do when nobody wants to hear it?
But you did have a meeting with Osama bin Laden, as I understand.
Here's a guy who bumps into Osama bin Laden. He met him 5 or 6 times.
Our country is still the target of terrorists who want to kill many.
But nobody in U.S. intelligence ever wants to meet the one individual who apparently is able to walk in and sit down with Osama bin Laden at will. That's astonishing.
Follow the Falconer, November 2010. We can see how that. Again, I never saw that film. All right, let's move on a little bit here. So this is an audio of a phone call. This is from January 6, 2011. Alan Perot, Congressman Weldon, and Brian Essner, that's Biden's attorney, part 1.
He said, I can become, his staff advisor was saying, you can become the next president if you help Alan bring bin Laden back. We discussed that we were going to give him a share of the rewards for justice money, which is $50 million. He was all excited, but then he said twice, he said, I cannot ask permission from Leon Panetta to work with you to get bin Laden out of Iran, but I can ask my good friend Leon Panetta if he has any objections. You're still there, sir?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. And so he spoke to Leon Panetta on 2 occasions. We got it back in writing and verbally that Leon Panetta told him, focus on North Korea only. And in the second conversation, he said, do not pursue bin Laden in Iran. Now,
I'm sure that.
Yeah. Now, I have had daily discussions and negotiations with the highest level of the Iranian government. It's been supervised by my attorney so that I'm not breaking the federal laws on subverting the policies of the U.S. State Department. I have had 88 pages of correspondence translated and delivered directly to President Ahmadinejad. In this correspondence, I am analyzing and discussing 6 scenarios for bin Laden's transfer to U.S. custody. I'm discussing 5 concessions from the United States and analyzing them. We have proof that Ahmadinejad has received the material. There is one man at the United Nations who's been designated in the Iranian mission to the UN to deal with me exclusively. I'm putting together a bipartisan coalition to go to Iran to discuss bin Laden's transfer to the United States.
Well, you'll never have that happen because our government won't let that happen.
You were very astute. Yesterday I had a conference call with Senator Susan Collins' people, and it included Brandon Milhorn, who's on the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee, also Robert Strayer and Molly Wilkinson. My request to Collins is that we get Collins and Lieberman and you to accompany us to the Oval Office to tell the president that this is a ticking time bomb, and if they will not, that he's got to designate you and Susan Collins and Lieberman to negotiate with Iran. And if he will not do so, we will go public about this in a way, because we've now determined without any doubt, I've got the proof, that Hillary Clinton's fingerprints are all over this policy. She has actually inherited the policy from the Bush administration and enlarged it. Hillary Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
There were 3. What's that?
I'm going to the airport now to pick up Brian Ettinger, who's one of my partners. Brian is Joe Biden's closest friend, was his first staff director. Wait till I pick him up. I would ask you to call me back. Let me have a conference call with Brian in the car with you. I'm in my car, just myself. And I'll have Brian, he just called me, which means he landed. So I'll have him in the car in 15 minutes.
You want me to call you in 15 minutes, sir?
Call this number back and you'll be with myself and Brian Ettinger.
Okay.
Ettinger is Biden's closest friend. He meets with Biden monthly. He was his first legislative director, and he's an attorney. More importantly, Brian is the unpaid chairman of the interagency organized crime task force for the U.S., which he does for Biden. which means he works with all of our agencies. And Biden sends him on secret missions, the most recent of which was to Pakistan, without the State Department involved. Now, you can't mention that while I have Brian on the phone, but I'm telling you that to give you an idea of who he is.
Yes, sir.
So call me back in, he just called, so he's probably getting off the plane now. Give me 15 minutes and then call back.
Very good. I will call you in 15 minutes, and also, sir, privately between us, if we can work out a cooperative agreement, I will share a significant percentage of the rewards for justice.
I always said that. And you know, Alan, let me say this. You told my daughter it was about money. It's really never been about money. You know, I had my daughter's house invaded by the FBI. You've never had that done. They did that to my daughter that you talked to 2 weeks before my election, and they never talked to her. And that intimidation and that threat, I know they've talked to you, but you've never had that done publicly. That was done to me.
Yes.
My book will be out this year, which is being written by a U.S. attorney.
Yes.
23, who is Brian Ettinger's best friend, because he wants to bring out the truth, which is going to rock this country to its roots. So that's been my concern all along. The 5-year statute on being able to do anything against me ends this year.
I'm a big supporter of you, sir, and I never wanted to offend anybody, and forgive me for calling your daughter.
No, I thought you talked to her, but, you know, you told her that it was about money. My daughter's house was raided by the FBI 2 weeks before. That's what it's about.
I see.
It's about me not wanting my family abused.
I understand, yeah.
They never talked to her.
Yeah.
They raided her to create an incident to get me out of office.
Yes.
Partly because I was dealing with you. I don't know.
Well,
I know the CIA set me up because I know the names of the people in the agency from other friends. So it's not, I mean, obviously I can't work for free, but it's more about my stability and my security and my family's security. But let me have this call with Brian.
Yes.
It's now 11:35 Eastern Time.
Yes.
Call me back at 11:50 when I'll be in the car.
I will call you at 11:50.
Thanks, Al.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. It rolls on to part 2. So let's talk about this a little bit. So we have Alan trying to bring out this information. He's frustrated. He ends up, trying to get a congressman involved. He talks to the congressman's daughter, right? And she said, he's interested in getting the money for finding Osama bin Laden. Hey, why wouldn't you, right? I don't have a problem with him getting the money for it, but now they raided the congressman's daughter, to basically start another, narrative shift about getting this congressman out of the way, right? So that they can get the congressman out of office, so that he doesn't have access to the government, right? So that he gets stopped. So he's mad about that. So he wants to help bring Alan's information to light because they went after his daughter, right? So let's continue on. We'll play the next one. This is the part 2.
With myself and Brian Ettinger. I told you who Brian is. He's a good friend and a trusted partner of mine. He has access. He doesn't get paid. He does this as a favor for Biden with the Interagency Organized Crime Task Force that works at our agencies.
Yes.
He's also very close to Biden on a number of issues. He was his former staffer. I trust him with my life and with business partners. So I'm going to have you, I've told him about you. You don't have to go through all the background about who you are.
Okay.
But I want you to tell him the most recent situation, and then Brian and I are going to talk about it, because we're going to have to New York together. So we'd like to put you on speakerphone now and introduce you.
Yes.
Alan, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Let me put the volume up. You've got to speak loudly. This is Brian Ettinger. Yes, sir. How are you?
Very well, sir. How are you, Brian?
Good. Speak very loud, Alan, so we can hear you. We're in a car. And Kurt told me about, I guess, the latest incident was with Governor Richardson. And he went through your background and who you are and the people that you previously contacted. And he indicated that, you were going to try to get Susan Collins and Lieberman united together to go in and see to brief the president or the vice president about the situation.
You are correct.
And I understand you're into the preservation of falcons. I'm sure you do know most of the royal members of the royal family because that's what they hunt with, is falcon, as well as Ben Laden used to hunt with falcons.
Well, sir, I worked exclusively for President Sheikh Zayed, the late president of the United Arab Emirates. I lived with him and his family for 20 years. I also trained falcons for the Saudi crown prince before he became King Abdullah. Yes, falconry is the Rosetta Stone for Al-Qaeda. I met Victor Boot in Sheikh Zayed's falconry camps, and recently, between November 2004 and up until recently, my team members have met Osama bin Laden 6 times inside Iran. We have repeatedly notified the U.S. government and only received, first we were ignored, then we were obstructed, and then we were threatened.
That doesn't surprise me. There's a friend of mine who's an international hunter. He hunts with falcons with the royal family of the UAE, and his name is Saeed Khan Karacha.
Yes.
I don't know if you know Saeed, but he takes them in the Himalayas to go this mountain goat. They go hunting with the royal family there.
Yes.
And he told me about a year ago that, because he has a house also in Quetta, he told me that he knew recently that Bin Laden was in northern Iran, and he's an American citizen, and told people at the embassy, and they ignored him like the plague. I haven't told you this, but on my most recent trip to Kuwait, I was with my 2 closest friends there, Sheikh Mohammed, who's the Foreign Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, and former U.S. Ambassador, and Sheikh Saud, who was the ambassador during Desert Storm.
Yes.
Who was George Bush, the father's closest friend in the Middle East.
Yes.
He's a very close friend of mine. And we were having a private dinner with his son Noah, who's another really close friend of mine. And we got to talking about Bin Laden, and I said, Sheikh Saud, where do you think he is? He said, oh, Kurt. He said, there's no doubt, he's in Iran. Yeah, I just told Kurt, I said, the better way of doing it, if Susan Collins and Lieberman are on board, I wouldn't go see Obama, I'd go see Biden. And Brian can arrange that directly, Alan.
Here's the problem, sir. We have identified with documentation 3 mechanisms used by the Bush administration to covertly engineer Bin Laden's house arrest inside Iran. We have identified 2 mechanisms used by this administration to continue the legacy. And Hillary Clinton's fingerprints are all over this, and Leon Panetta's fingerprints are all over this. We will have tremendous opposition.
But yeah, because I told Kurt that he is being protected by us. We don't really want to get him. We want him under the radar screen because he basically made a deal that he's not going to hit us here in the U.S.
Well,
there we go. All right, so we've got, evidence piling up, right, saying that this is what's been going on, right? So we have an unbelievable amount of daily drops to look forward to as this happens, right? So we're going to stay on this because this is what is going to blossom into the take them down because of the terrorism, because of the treason, right? They assassinated SEAL Team 6 to keep this quiet. let alone all the other stuff that went on about hiding bin Laden and the whole, them trying to wag the dog, create the scenario, and then later on they want to come back and use his death as a trophy, right? So they backstabbed bin Laden, which it's not like I think that he deserved not to be backstabbed, but just to show that they're not trustworthy. They're just going to play anyone. Any player is just fodder, cannon fodder for them to go ahead and create their narrative at the time when they need it. What did they need at the time? They needed a win to show that Obama was against terrorism, so they took out bin Laden. So the rest of all of this is going to just lead to all of their arrests and hanging. So, all right, we'll break there. Listen, there's a lot of other stuff going on. I don't want to cover it. I want to stay focused on this. Other than telling you, join the assemblies, get on lifeforce.global, find the app LifeForce Watch. Go ahead and join the assemblies. Get involved. That's what we need. We need to stand up now as they're tearing down these people from the top. That's what this is. They're tearing those people down from their lofty rafters. They're going to be fighting as they go down. There's going to be a lot of turmoil. But while this is going on, we've got to build from the bottom up, from the ground up. We have to go ahead and stand up and govern ourselves. We have to take out those people that are not abiding by the Constitution. That's what we're doing. Please join us and get involved. All right, until tomorrow, if you would like to give a donation link is down below for PayPal, for myself, and also for LifeForce. Either one you'd like to go ahead and donate, the links are down below. My contact information is down below. Subscribers are actually rising a little bit from yesterday when I talked with everybody. The interesting thing as I'm looking is there's a lot more coming off that are going on. I'm starting to chart those numbers, and a lot of people leaving or unsubscribing. So that's the algorithm, unsubscribing. So let's get the numbers up. We've got to supersede that by getting a lot more people in. Please share this. The share link is down below. Subscription button is down below. The bell symbol is down below. And even if you haven't checked recently, you can go and check and make sure you're still subscribed and that the bell is taken for notifications. So, okay, until tomorrow, have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.